Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's Women of Dance, episode 5. I'm your host, Sharonne Vinokurov, and today my guest is going to be the fabulous Tanya La Alemana Kensinger. So join us. It's going to be a great conversation. She's going to be jumping in on it live soon. Let's actually see if I got a message. I do. I have a message. So hello. So as we wait for her to come on, just wanted to touch base with you guys. I know last week I was supposed to have Christina Piedra on. Unfortunately, we had technical difficulties. She will be back on the show. I'm going to have her on at the end of the month. So don't worry, we will have that sit down with her. And I personally cannot wait for that. So, we got people jumping in here left and right. Let's see who we got. Say hello. Let me know who's here. I see a couple viewers already jumping on. Give me a wave. So again, for those who don't know about the show, we're going to be sitting down with Tanya La Alemana. You will always see Tanya when she comes on. You will not always see me. Sometimes you will be seeing video. Do not worry about sound on the video. It is not a technical difficulty. You'll be able to hear her, because I'd rather you hear her than hear the music. You can always find the videos online and see them in their full glory there. So, hope you guys all had a wonderful week. If there's anything that you want to talk about with Tanya, please let me know. You can post about it here in the comments, and I will try to get those questions answered for you. Oh, you're so welcome, Esmeralda. Miss you, girl. Haven't seen you in so long. I'll give you a little wave. Hello. Let's see here. I'm going to... Nope, not that. Gonna send her a little invite. Make sure she sees this. Send in the invite. So hopefully she'll be joining us momentarily. Fun story while we wait for her to come on. So performed this past Saturday with the team at Art in Motion. All of our teams got to perform together for the first time. Our students were working so hard since, before the pandemic started. So it was great to be able to get everybody together. But I cut my leg during the performance and I didn't notice until afterwards, which is what I call an unidentified dance injury. So I'm just curious, does anybody else go through that? Let me know. Oh, Tanya's here. If you ever have a unidentified dancer injury, post chats. Hi.
Hi.
Welcome, welcome.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
It's so good to see your face. I missed you so much. I haven't seen you in so long.
I know it's been a really long, even before this whole pandemic happened, I haven't seen you in years. It's been years.
I think maybe the last time I saw you guys might be DCBX.
That was 3 or 4 years ago. We haven't been to DCBX in a long time.
Wow. That's crazy. Well, you guys are all over the place all the time, so.
Yeah, but it still sucks that we don't get to see the people that we care about and we like. So it's very, very nice to see you.
It's so nice to see you too. So just a reminder for you and for those that are watching, you will always see me. Always see Tanya, but sometimes you won't see me and you'll see video playing on here. Right now, you just see my phone because I haven't started it yet. I want to surprise you when we get to it. I actually messaged you. I had so much fun pulling up the videos for your playlist because I feel like I've known you almost your entire career.
Oh.
If I'm not mistaken, we go back to Reno. Yeah. I think was the first time I met you.
Reno was maybe 2010, so it's been a long time, 11 years.
It's been a long time. So it was so fun watching the videos. So I'm like, I remember this routine. I remember this routine. I remember this one. Oh, I love this one.
Aww.
So it'll be fun.
Yeah.
So everybody knows you as the queen of the Island Touch Empire, but let's talk about you before that. So how did dance come into your life?
Well, so basically dance started because my mother was a semi-professional ballroom dancer. So even before I was born, she was dancing. And then when she tells me that I danced or started moving to music before I could walk. So I've always been listening to it. It always made me move, but I didn't go into actual dance classes until I was probably around 3 years old. And I did like tap and jazz and a little bit of ballroom. She tells me I did a ballet class for like 6 months to a year. All I remember is walking into ballet, seeing the pink tutus, and walking out. That's what's in my mind. Because at the time I was a tomboy, so I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing this pink stuff. I don't know what this is, but apparently I took the classes. So I did that since I was 3 until about 6, and we moved to the States. This was all in Germany, and then we moved to the States, and I didn't pick up dance again until like officially. We did like talent shows and stuff like that, like with my best friends and everything, but 2005 is when I picked up dancing again, and I was actually a go-go dancer at a nightclub. I had just graduated. I was 18, able to go to nightclubs. Duh, of course you're gonna take the gig. And I was doing a Latin night, and I saw this couple dance LA style salsa, and I was like, this is amazing, because I understood what partner dancing was, and I've had like Latin influence in my life since I was 10 because of my best friend. She's Puerto Rican. So I kind of grew up with salsa, bachata, and merengue. So when I saw it, I'm like, okay, I know what this is, but this is amazing and I need to learn it. And that was actually Neri Garcia, who I saw. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
His previous partner, and they were in the nightclub, and I was like, I want to learn. And then they started just teaching me. We learned through those VHS tapes, like Edie the Salsa Freak and Alec with Silver. So that's how we were learning how to dance salsa at the time. But that's it. So ever since 2005, I've just been in it.
Gotcha. It's so funny, like how we remember the first person we saw like out dancing that sparked it for us. I remember I too, like I had dabbled a little bit with salsa in college. One of my people in this group I was in did a routine, but like I didn't know nothing about it. But I remember going to like a local restaurant in Philly and seeing Joe performing with his sister.
Oh, wow.
And that was my first like, oh wait, salsa's like a thing. Like, hold on. It's like a thing. Well, I came from the ballet world, so for me this was all. But okay, so tell me about how you and Ataka came to be. Island Touch, Ataka Alemana, the beginnings of the. Give us the origin story.
Okay, we're going back far. Basically, so Neri and I, obviously, we were a dance couple and we were dating and everything. We broke up, and then sometimes it doesn't work, you know, after you break up and you can't make the partnership work. So I was looking for a new partner because I wanted to dance and I wanted to perform. And at the time, that's not what Neri wanted to do. So I'm like, I'm doing this, so I'm going to find somebody. And it was a friend of mine at the time. Her name's Judy, and she knew I was looking for somebody, and she knew of George. That he apparently was also looking, or she ran into him at a nightclub, is the story. And he told her that he was looking for a partner or something. And then she was like, oh, well, you know, Tanya, Alemana, she's also looking for a partner. So she gave him my number, and then he called me. And that's really it. Like, it's not like this special, like, oh my God, did you guys see each other across the dance floor? It's not like that. Like, he literally called me. I called him back. We talked about like what the plan was, because he wanted to expand as well. He was working for a studio in Tampa, and he was pretty limited of what he wanted or what he could do with them. So we talked, and we're like, look, this is what we want to do. We want to travel. We want to teach workshops. We want to perform. We want to build something that's memorable, but is do something that we enjoy and we want to live off of it. So that's exactly what we did. And at the time when him and I met, right around that same time, him and Rudy, that's the routine. Oh my God, I could tell you.
You said memorable. I had to pull it up. I mean, talk about iconic.
Oh my God, that routine. First of all, that was the first time we had performed together. We came up with that routine in like 8 hours as complete amateurs. So it's crazy that it's gotten I mean, we appreciate it obviously, but we were still babies at that point. But I messed up. We messed up half the routine, which is crazy to me.
Yeah, you couldn't tell. This is the original video, by the way. This is the one that has 99 million views.
That's crazy. That's so crazy.
99 million views. Like, and this is at a time when like bachata wasn't
no, it was
big.
it was the music that you at salsa socials, because it was just socials, but it was salsa socials. When bachata was playing, you either dance with somebody that you wanted to go home with, or a break. That's what bachata was at the time. There weren't a lot of performances. There were people performing obviously before us that were teaching and everything, but it wasn't as big as it is today. Like definitely no congresses, like major congresses of bachata. But yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, that's when we started. This was we performed that in May. We got together in March. So 2 months of getting to know each other and everything. Yeah, that's when we performed that routine. Oh my God, we were such babies. But yeah,
Such babies.
That's started. He was looking for a partner. I was looking for one. And we just kind of meshed. And at the same time, him and Rudy got together and they created Island Touch. Like, so Island Touch was created before I came along. They wanted to build a company. And initially Island Touch started as like a contracting company where basically the goal was to be like you had a studio and let's say one of your instructors couldn't make it, instead of canceling the class, he would call Island Touch and we would send a substitute teacher out to the studio to film it, so you would never have to cancel the class. So that was the initial goal, and then it kind of just like morphed into even more. But yeah,
that's actually really interesting. I didn't know that that's how that started, that you guys were just like subcontracting out work.
Yeah, that's all we were doing. And then our partnership grew, and then that happened. And then we became a traveling bachata couple. And we didn't understand it because we were like, we're salsa dancers. Like that same social of that video, we didn't need to get into the social to perform. We just wanted to showcase that we were a partnership. So we did that routine. Okay. And we were like, look, we're going to give you a choreographed routine. It's going to be bachata, blah, 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 but let us do salsa as well. Yes. The video that's muted, by the way, which still has a crazy amount of views. I don't understand it, but it's completely muted because of copyright. But that's really that was our goal, is to be a salsa couple, like this fusion of whatever the hell I'm wearing. I don't even know.
I mean, what else? It worked. But yeah, this is Baby George and Tanya dancing salsa. And this was a freestyle, right?
Yeah, that was a freestyle. The only thing that was choreographed was like this hip hop section that we do in the middle that we had one of his buddies help us choreograph, because obviously we weren't hip hop dancers, but we're like, let's just do something fun. Our dress style definitely has changed.
I mean, whose hasn't over the years?
It's just so crazy to watch yourself from so long ago and you're like, what was I thinking?
But I have to say, watching your guys' expressions, watching these videos is so much more fun than I could have imagined when I came up with this show. Because you guys are all like, oh my God, where did she find it?
No, delete it. It's crazy. But
absolutely not. I can actually, if we don't get through all the videos, I promise I'll send you the link for this private playlist that I made for you.
Yeah.
And you can just see all the things that I found over the years. So, so talk to me more about like once Island Touch, like you guys started traveling, like what was that experience like for you?
Well, once we started traveling, we actually, I mean, all the artists that have been in the game for a long time will tell you, we had to invest in ourselves in the beginning. So we paid for our way to go. Oh God, no, that's also routine. We paid our way to get to different congresses. So that's what started our actual traveling. Like people knew us already from YouTube. Like we were the YouTube couple that does bachata, but at the time they didn't know how we taught. They didn't know if they could sell tickets still. So we paid our way to get to congresses and showcase our worth, I guess you could say, and that we were actually good instructors. So that started we started traveling, I want to say 2009, like towards the end of 2009 is when we started, doing an international event here and there, mostly still working in the US, but that's when we started getting over into Europe. And then right around 2010, I want to say mid 2010 is when everything started to pick up. And then we just were traveling pretty much every weekend for those first 2 years. And then it was definitely every weekend right around starting 2012. And from 2012 until I want to say 2016, 2018, we were traveling every single weekend of the year for 5-6 years. So
Wow.
it was, we had a lot of fun. It was exhausting, but we got to see a lot of things, meet a lot of people, make friendships and everything. But yeah, it started out in 2009, us paying our way to congresses to showcase our talents and to showcase that we were instructors. And then people started actually hiring us, and then it just like went from 0 to 100 very quickly.
So when you were doing this, did you have another job, or was this at this point your full-time career? Like, when did you do that?
When George and I started, because when I was with Neri, we actually had a studio that we were teaching. Like I didn't have another job at the time. But then when I moved to Tampa, when I left where I was living, which is Fort Myers, I moved towards Tampa. One of my friends, she had 3 girls that needed daycare. So I was like a living nanny. So I lived with her, made sure her kids were taken care of. But that was really the only job that I had. Otherwise, it was just dancing since I've been living off of dance, I want to say maybe since 2006, really. You know, modestly in the beginning, you're like,
Of course.
but yeah, like I haven't had a real corporate job, like corporate America job since that time, because I used to work in insurance before that. But yeah, so I've been able to live off of dance.
We all have a corporate America background.
Oh my God. And I'll never go back. I don't care.
Right? Never go back. I can't do it. I just can't. I can't at all. So I wanted to talk to you guys about the empire, if you will, the franchising,
Yes.
if you will, because you guys were the first franchise out there, really. You started this trend of everybody, you know, trying to have a franchise team all over the world. So talk to me about how that came about.
So really, I mean, obviously because we have 3, it's it's George, Rudy, and myself. So it's a 3. Oh my God, these videos we're getting this from.
This is where we met, by the way. This is Reno.
That's Ernesto. Yeah, that's Reno. Ernesto and Luli. That's crazy. So basically the way the franchise started, so Rudy, that's really Rudy's, he's, first of all, Rudy's had many different lives in one lifetime. And he's very, very knowledgeable. If you've ever met Rudy, you know exactly, like, he's a businessman. He knows what he's talking about. So one of the things that he wanted to do, actually with another dance company, at first, he was like, they would be amazing if they were able to franchise something. And obviously, at the time, when you're talking about art, when you're talking to artists, you're like, no, this is my art. Like, how am I going to scale this? And then are people going to do it right? And all this, like all these different concerns that we had to get over, which actually started, the way that we got it was when we started doing DVDs, selling Te Extraño. That was one of the first DVDs that we started selling. And at first we were like, why would we teach other people to do this choreography? And Rudy's like, just trust me. And we did. And that was like the first step to getting past whatever insecurities we had. And then he was like, look, let's people love you guys. They want to learn your style, but you're only 2 people. You can't be in multiple places. So the way to do that is create these choreographies and let's start teaching people your style if that's what they want. And it started out with us teaching directly with us. Oh my God.
You'll see what you can keep talking. Don't worry about it. The videos will just keep going. There's so much.
So it started out with us going to, I believe the first 2 teams that we had besides our Tampa team was Orlando. Actually, we started with Orlando, and the 2 people in this video are from Orlando. And we started teaching them. And then we moved over to, I believe New York was next. And then Houston came in, and that was with an actual director. So Troy and Georgette, or Troy and Brittany, were the directors for Houston Touch. And then we moved over to LA and actually started teaching ourselves. But we were spread too thin. So at that point, we just kind of started opening it up. And that was in end of 2010, beginning of 2011, where we were like, okay, we just got to be cool with auditioning directors and making sure that they're going to teach the choreographies to the best of their abilities. And that's when it started. So back in 2011, that's when the franchises started. And then obviously, you know, when you see a good business idea, if you're a business person or you have any kind of business mind, why wouldn't you try to copy or emulate that? It was a good idea. It was very scalable. So
how do you decide which routines you're going to give to your teams of your own? Like, because I think they're all, for the most part, a majority of the, especially the co-ed pieces, are former Ataque Alemana routines, right?
they are now. They actually started out for the first, I want to say, we only recently started giving them our professional routines. We would come up with new routines every season. And when we first started the teams, we had 3 seasons a year. So we would do 3 separate routines per year per team. And at the time
Oh my God.
I had a Shines team and we had a co-ed team. So it would be 2, 4, 6 routines a year just for the team, not including our own. So we got really, really good, really fast at coming up with routines in a timely manner, and with the product, whatever it was. And obviously we've grown. Yeah, we put in a lot of work, and that was the other thing. You know, Rudy, he's built for this stuff, and he's read a lot. And one of the books, Outliers, if you've never read it, I definitely recommend it to everybody. But one of the things that they talk about is 10,000 hours. You have, for masters, to be a master, you got to put in those 10,000 hours. And we put in those 10,000 hours at a very early start, especially when it came to choreographies, because we had 3 seasons a year. So 3 brand new choreographies every 4 months.
That's a lot of work. For those that don't do choreography, like, that's a lot of work. And a lot of trying to not be repetitive.
It was hard. And to top off that, we were traveling at that time too. We were traveling every weekend. So not only are we gone from Thursday to Monday at a Congress and having to focus on that, the Tuesday and Wednesday, maybe Monday, we got to come up with choreographies and then do breakdown videos and then send them to and at the time I was managing the teams. So I had the administrative stuff, but also the choreography stuff and the traveling. And then finally we were like, okay, we can't do this anymore. We need to hire people. And that's, when we added to the team, we got Bianca, who's been doing an amazing job at managing. But yeah, that's how it started. We just did 3 seasons. Everything was brand new. The professional choreographies, our personal ones like Extraño, Promise, and all that, didn't start coming in until maybe about 3 or 4 years ago. 3 years ago, maybe. But before that,
do your dancers, have you gotten feedback, like what they prefer? Do they miss the original choreographies? Like, are they asking for, or are they like, yes, I got to do their routine?
I think they get really excited when they get a routine that we've done, obviously, but they also enjoy the fact that we create something just for them, something that's never been seen before, their own costuming, something that's theirs. So of course, obviously, like, of course I would want to perform Extraño. That's how I got into dance, or whatever it might be. Whatever choreography means something to them, if they get it, they're going to get excited. But I think our dancers do appreciate the fact that they get originals. Yeah.
Do you love the choreography process? What's that like for you?
I do now. To be honest, and I know George will agree, at the beginning, I mean, we were still a new couple. You've had dance partnerships. And it's just hard with a regular partner to see eye to eye, because we're separate artists. We have different visions, and to try to agree on something can be difficult. And then if you add the intimate part into it, then, there's maybe a little bit more fire sometimes. So in the beginning, we went through a lot when it came to the process. We fought, obviously, like anybody does when you're creating something, but we've learned how to communicate and to listen to each other. And now, first of all, the choreographies don't take us that long to create anymore because of the time that we've put in, but because of all the time that we've also spent together. We've been together for 13 years. Now we actually almost choreograph, not the same, but very similar. Like, we'll hear something and George will be like, oh, this is what I'm seeing. I'm like, bro, that's exactly what I was seeing in my head. The choreography process is so much easier. Yeah.
Makes sense. Well, that chemistry, you have that. I found another old gem of you guys.
Oh my God.
I really wanted to find as much salsa as I could, just because everybody so knows you guys as bachata artists. But like you said, you guys got into this game to dance salsa.
Yeah, that's where
So I was like, let me show that they do more than just bachata.
this was actually, this salsa routine was our first choreographed salsa routine. The other one that you showed, Jalissa Cruz and Ben Cartagena actually choreographed for us. It was on
Oh, no.
one. This is our first salsa routine that we choreographed on our own, on two. Oh my.
Wow. I thought I had the timeline correct. Damn it. I thought I had it right.
No, no, no. This is, no, but this is after the Jalissa one. Like you're
Oh, okay.
right, timeline wise, yeah. Because we had to do
Okay, good.
first salsa routine. We did a couple of bachatas and then we're like, all right, let's try another salsa routine. We have a little bit more knowledge and we're a little bit more comfortable with performances and we understand how to create choreographies better. So that was the first salsa routine we created. Oh my.
I got to ask, on one or on two?
This is supposed to be on two. This one.
No, 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 not the routine. Your preference. Do you
Oh, my
prefer
preference.
on one or on two?
I prefer on two now. And it's crazy because I was a hardcore LA style dancer on one all the way. And people used to tell me, they're like, you got to try on two. I'm like, why would I do that? I love on one so much. They're like, trust me, the moment you do it, you're not going to go back. I'm like, whatever. And then I did it. I'm like, yeah, you're right. Because now I'll still dance on one socially, but I find myself that if like my partner breaks away from me, my shines end up on two. Even if the partner work was on one, I'll go back to on two naturally. That's how I just hear the music now.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Like same thing here. Philly's on one. I started on one. I had friends that were like, you got to try dancing on two. You got to dance on two. And now I love it.
Yeah, like I don't hear the music any different now. I don't know. It's weird.
It's so funny. How things change, how things change.
I know, right? But,
So do you have a favorite routine that you guys have done together over the course of your dance?
I think my favorite routine is probably, yeah, it's going to be Llegaste Tú. That's my favorite. It's the costuming. I love my dress. It's simple. It wasn't cheap, but it was simple. It was just like a nice long gown. And I like the song. And I've always liked Louis Fonsi, actually. That was somebody I was listening to for a long time in the beginning. I actually wanted us to do a routine to Aquí Estoy Yo, which is another Louis Fonsi song. And then ironically, did Aquí Estoy Yo for, oh my God, Cuando el amor se va. We did Aquí Estoy Yo for the franchise teams. So I still got to choreograph to the song that I liked. It just wasn't my routine. But Llegaste Tú is probably my favorite routine to do. It's slow, but it's beautiful. And I think it's so intricate. But I think I feel like even though we do modern and everything, and that's what we're known for, I think we are best, and I feel my best when we're doing like the more elegant routines. Llegaste Tú, Amor Eterno, stuff like that. Our new one that's coming out that nobody knows about yet, but the new one's gonna be a really nice about. So yeah, I feel my best when we're doing like the more elegant stuff.
I'll definitely be showing that video later. It's on my playlist. Don't worry.
Yeah.
This routine I personally always loved. This is one of my favorite earlier routines of you guys. And didn't you perform this with Dominic Marte once somewhere?
You know,
I tried to find that video, but I couldn't find it. I remember seeing you guys were like at a club or something, and he was there, and you were performing this song.
Oh shit! You know what? And I have the worst memory, so I couldn't even tell you. George would be able to say yes or no. Maybe. I know we've met him a few times. It's quite possible because he would be like doing a concert, so it's quite possible we performed with him live. Yeah,
George, if you're watching the video, make a comment. Let us know if we're right.
But yeah, that was a fun routine. This also actually was originally this was a team routine for our Tampa team. Our Tampa and Orlando teams learned this routine to perform. It had formation changes and everything. And then when we started traveling, we were like, this is a dope routine. Let's see if we can try to do it as a solo as well. And we made it work, I think. Yeah.
I'm curious, just because you mentioned the prospect of the team, and I'm looking at this as a solo piece. When you guys choreograph for your team, do you choreograph with formations already in mind?
No.
Or do you just do choreography and then you deal with formations and whatnot after?
Yeah, that's basically what we do. We choreograph the piece and then we're like, okay, when can we move? And the thing is for us, at least with like the franchises, we give the directors the opportunities to create the formations if they want or if they don't. We have had experience with formations. Obviously we can do them, but we like to just choreograph the piece and then we'll figure out when we can move. We try not to make the main focus of a choreography even though the transitions are amazing, but we like to be like, okay, let's just make this piece the piece and then we'll add the cool formations after, because I think sometimes people choreograph and they're like, okay, we need these cool transitions and all this stuff, and then sometimes I feel like maybe the choreography itself is lacking. And that's just, you know, the different styles. I'm not calling anybody out. That's just people's process sometimes, that we like to do it the other way. That was
Gotcha. Well, everybody has their own process.
Exactly. Whatever works, you know?
And this was a piece that you guys did yourselves and you also did as duos, right? Didn't you like also bring in other artists sometimes?
Yes.
Like if you were traveling?
Look at you do your research. Yes, we did. Kimberly Rivera has performed this routine a few times with us as Rudy's partner. Shani actually did this with us when we went to Tel Aviv. She was at an event, we were there as well, and she was able to perform it. I think she also performed it with Rudy in, was it Switzerland? I think. Yeah, so we've had Kim. Danny D also did this routine with us. Yeah, so we had quite a few people, and then obviously Bianca has done that routine too. So yeah, I think that was really the routine where we first started adding different artists that were willing to perform bachata. And ironically, all the ones that we added were always salseras.
Speaking of, I have a bunch of fun collaboration videos of you guys that I gotta pull up since you all, but first, real quick, just because you did mention this, there's your favorite.
Hey guys, I love that routine.
You look beautiful. I remember seeing the dress for the first time and I was like, oh my God, what is happening? It's so pretty.
Yeah, and it's like a simple dress, you know. I mean, not simple, but it has a simple cut, nothing crazy, just fully covered in like one slit. But I just love how it feels and how it flows, and yeah, I love the whole look.
So I don't know about you, but I've definitely had instances on stage where there's been what I call a wardrobe malfunction, where the heel gets
I think
caught
in this
in
video
long
there's
skirt.
a wardrobe malfunction.
Oh, is there one in this?
I think so. I don't know, but I've gotten stuck in that dress so many times I couldn't even tell you. And it's always at the time when we get together and we drop to the floor, my heel sometimes gets caught, or I used to lift my leg in one part, but I always kept getting stuck in it, so I just decided to take the lift out. But yeah, no, I've gotten stuck in that dress. A couple other things bras have come undone, like it happens.
It all happens. What advice can you give the female dancers that are watching? What do they do when this happens to them on stage?
Keep moving. That's all I can say. Try not to lose focus. You know, try to get out of that situation as quickly as possible. I think the biggest thing is if you know your routine inside and out and some shit goes down, you should be able to adjust quickly. So one, make sure you practice in your costume before you perform it. That's number one. And booty. And know your choreography inside and out. So if something happens, you trip, or it's a wardrobe malfunction, you don't get out of your zone. Your body's kind of like in just like auto drive, I guess. So you can keep going while you're taking care of whatever just happened. But yeah. But
how important do you find the costume to your performance?
How do I find the costumes?
Like, how important do you feel like the right costume is for your performance, and like who comes up with the costumes for you guys?
Costumes are definitely necessary for the story you're trying to tell. So for us, we pick our costumes based on what does the song make us feel, what has the choreography so far made us feel like, and then we kind of go from there. We normally pick like a color scheme or something. And usually it's me coming up with whatever I want to wear, and then George will match that. So you've seen, I mean, we've got costumes that have rhinestones on it. We have costumes that are literally off the rack. So it just depends on what story are we trying to tell with this piece, as opposed to always being in a gown, although they're amazing and they're beautiful. For us, because we have such different vibes all the time, I don't think for us it would make sense to have the same style of costume every single time. So
now, because you have the franchise and you have these teams that get together, how do you handle having so many dancers with the matching cost? Like, I can't imagine what that type of undertaking is.
it was extremely stressful for a very, very long time. And I give a lot of credit to Burju, because Burju was actually our provider for costuming and clothing and shoes. She handled all that. Like, everybody had to go through her system. So she had the staff. She was the one receiving emails on when's my package coming and blah, 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 or I got the wrong size. Like, she took on a lot of the weight and the heavy lifting of what the costuming was. I basically drew up the costume. And then she had factories in China that were able to make whatever my design was. So we did that at first because I wanted everybody to be universal, same exact costume, because if you leave it up to different seamstresses, then you have different cuts sometimes or different materials, and then they just look different on stage, especially when different countries get together. So I wanted to make it as uniform as possible. But after a while, it's just, we were like, okay, this is causing maybe just a bigger headache than what it needs to be. And let's just allow people to go ahead and make their own costumes. So now I design it. I tried to have a prototype. So now I have a seamstress here in Orlando that hopefully can make costumes. And then I can show them exactly what it needs to look like. So then they can go back to their people to get them done. But usually they've been just working off of drawings, and I'm not that big of an artist. So when it comes to,
I mean, I beg to differ, but let's define the word artist. So
it gets the job done.
that's all that matters. You have these teams all over the world. Where is your biggest franchise team? Ooh. And how many people is in your largest team? Because I've seen some videos of what looks like armies.
Yeah. But it's usually like 2 or 3 cities together. I can tell you now, because it's been like up and down with everything.
Of course.
But I feel like some of the biggest teams that we've had, definitely in New Jersey, Christina Piedra, she had a lot. Oh my God, that routine. She had a lot of students on her team, and she still has a pretty big team. I think that was one. I want to say maybe Italy and Milan. We had a pretty big team. Yeah, it's hard. I feel like Jersey was huge, like super big.
Yeah, I think Christina's had some pretty large teams.
She's had a lot of people. I'm like, God damn.
I'll make sure to get that number from her when I have her on in 2 weeks to make up for last week.
Her season of the most amount of people, because she definitely blew it out of the water a lot of the season. I think Jersey probably takes the cake on the amount of people in a team for her. Yeah.
What is the coolest place that you've ever traveled to?
Ooh, that's a hard,
amongst all of these adventures.
That's a hard question.
You can do top 3 if that helps.
I think it's crazy. It's hard to narrow it down, but the one place that sticks out in my mind, I don't know why, I feel like it probably was some kind of energy changing type trip, but we were in Jordan and we had a chance to go to be tourists, and we went to Petra. So if nobody has ever heard of Petra, Google Petra. It's incredible. It's an incredible city, just like out in the middle of nowhere, and the buildings were built into the sides of the mountains. Like, that's how they lived. Everything was built into the mountains.
Wow.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's thousands of years old. But I don't know. It was, I would say that was probably the most incredible place that I've seen. You know, we did and shark or scuba diving in the Great Barrier Reef. We did that in Australia. We've done so much that it's really hard to narrow it down. But the number one thing that sticks out is visiting Petra, because I don't know what it was. I have no idea why it sticks out. I don't feel like I have any like family there or any kind of connection. Something that like it just doesn't leave my brain.
Wow. So we've talked a little bit about collabs
Yeah.
earlier. So this is your collaboration in Tampa with Yamulee.
Yeah, that was we were so.
How did this come about?
Well, I mean, Yamulee Osmar is one of Rudy's favorite companies. Yamulee, he loves Yamulee, and so we would go to New York a lot to train with them and just study and take as many classes as we could to, you know, because again, we were still salsa at heart and we didn't want to lose that. So we spent a lot of time with Yamulee. We watched their training sessions and just their work ethic. And Osman has, you know, baseball background, and so does George. So they connected on that. So it was a friendship built as well. And Osman he just asked us like, hey, why don't you guys are good. He loved George. George is like a sponge. He picks up anything all the time. And he was like, just try it out. Come on and try this out. So we did that with them. And then after that is when we also got with Victor and Bijou, because we love them. I've known of Ache Machete when I first started salsa, and I loved their creativity. When they had their teams, it was just amazing. So being able to be friends with them and work with them, and do this original project that we all created together while I think we were there for a weekend in Boston. And we all came up with this choreography at the time. I remember I heard that particular song, and we were in the car, and I looked at George. I'm like, you know who would be amazing to do a choreography to this song? And he's like, who? I'm like, Ache Machete. Victor and Bijou would absolutely murder the song. And he's like, yes, I agree. And then I don't know who called who. I don't know if he called her or I called her. But I remember I brought it up, and it just somehow happened to where we were like, okay, let's just all work together. So yeah.
I love this routine. Like, I love this routine. It's so fun to watch. I mean, I'm sad that we can't play the music right now, so everyone can hear it. But y'all can find it on YouTube. It's fantastic. And you guys did another collab with them as well, right? They jumped in on one of your routines, if I'm not mistaken.
They did with at Tampa when we did the collab with Yamulee. Victor and Bijou also learned bachata and fukuoka. They learned a piece of that, and they did that. I think that was the first time that we had worked together, and then we were able to do the separate project after that. But yeah.
Well, I couldn't have nailed it completely. I guess my playlist was slightly.
Good. You're good. My timeline, I'm like, I think maybe. But
this was also a really fun piece because you extended the cha-cha section, did you not, of the music, so that you could have a longer cha-cha part.
You got a good ear. Yeah. So basically, when we took the original with Juan Luis Guerra, but then there was like a remix with I forgot who the other artist was, but they did the original version, then they had like a remix version where there was another artist, and he just used both of those mixes and put them together and made this awesome cut. Oh, I love them. It was so fun. And
now she's got her own empire.
Like, just to have them be part of it, and for them to say yes, like, that's the other thing, right? So like, yeah, we are who we are, but the people like that we have like this huge respect for, when they're like, yeah, of course I'll do it, you're like, oh my God, and you turn into like this fangirl, and that's exactly what happened. We were like, you actually want to do it? Oh, amazing. So we were so.
Wait, you mean so how like I felt when I asked you to do this?
Oh, stop. No. Please.
Is that what you're talking about? That feeling?
Oh, I appreciate it, but stop now.
No, it really, I feel like it's such a blessing when we get to work with our colleagues and do fun stuff like this. It's so rare, but people don't know how hard it is to do that because guys don't see each other, right? Like, So, I mean, and this is like one of many collabs that have happened over the years. Do you guys ever pre-prepare or like do you for this because you had the routine? Did you send them the choreography in advance or like how did that work?
I'm not sure. I feel like maybe we did, but honestly, it's quite possible that when they were down in Florida at one point, they're like, all right, let's just like I feel like they learned it like not that day, but within like a few hours, they're like, all right, we're good. I don't think we sent them a video first. I honestly feel like we just like did it in person and they had it.
That would have been too nice to send it in. No, I think it's great. I love seeing artists collab together. I think it's so fun. I mean, this was one of the craziest I ever saw. This, I believe, was a
Oh, yeah, that
Reno's. There's like 7 or something groups in this.
yes, yes. Oh my God, this is that's Alemana. I think that's
Latina.
our routine, which is crazy.
Yeah, you all did each other's pieces.
Yeah, it was so cool just to see us all get together and be able to work together. And you know, because sometimes you hear horror stories and you know there's some teams that maybe don't like each other and then you have egos involved and everything, so it's always refreshing to be able to work with people and see and know that we all respect each other's work and we appreciate it, and then to actually be willing to perform it, that's a whole nother step. So that was a really really fun experience.
Is
Yeah.
there any artist that you have not shared the stage with that you would love to share the stage with?
Desiree Godzel. I want to dance with that woman. I love her.
Debbie, if you're watching this, I hope you're paying
I've only
attention.
been able to share the stage for like Camp Mean and stuff, but I want to dance with her. I want a routine with her. I love her. She's amazing.
She's absolutely amazing. She's one of my favorites. She's also going to be on the show at some
Ooh,
point.
nice.
So I cannot wait to have her on. So maybe when I have her on, I'll ask her about that.
Yeah, put her on the spot.
I'll put her on the spot and, you know, be like, hey, what's going on? This,
Yeah.
I think, was a freestyle,
Yes.
if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So
Which
basically,
you're
that video, that's when Me Emborracharé first dropped, and Fidel, the manager, was like, you guys just like do a social dance or whatever. And this basically became their music video when the song first came out for the song. And it was all
Did they
just,
cut you a check for it?
no, but you know, we're friends with them like you do. It's like, of course, we dance to your music all the time. We love you guys. And it was fun to be able to dance with Daniel and Desiree as well. Yeah, no, this was all freestyle stuff. We were just like, hey, let's just get together. Let's do this.
And you guys traveled a lot at the same events with them, right? So
Yeah. Exactly.
you guys developed a little bit of a friendship, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. No,
You
they're
guys swap partners, right? At
yeah,
some
yeah,
point
yeah.
in this video?
Yeah, we do. I end up dancing with Daniel and he ends up dancing with Desiree. It's fun. I love
It
that.
always seems like a good time.
Yeah.
And
No,
then I have another collab.
so, oh my God, I loved collaborating with Anya. Who wouldn't? Are you kidding?
I know, right?
It was incredible. Just her, first of all, just as a dancer, she's great. But as an educator, I have so much respect for her as an educator. She knows so much. And the way that she communicates her way with words, I'm like, I can only aspire to
Yeah.
be. I think she's great. And being able to work with her, this was definitely out of my comfort zone because it wasn't something I was completely used to. She just picked a song. She's like, I love this song. Let's do something to it. And it was just this whole new imagined idea that she had. And she sent me videos and I tried to learn it through the videos as best as I could. And then when we came to this event in Mexico, we practiced and I wanted to make sure I got, and I was able to, you know, convey her vision, whatever she saw with it. But I was so nervous performing. Are you kidding me?
I mean, you look fantastic.
The costume, they got it fit. My ass had grown at that time. It was a little tight around the hip, so it's sitting a little high, but yeah, no, it was amazing working with her.
It's the German and the Russian.
Yeah, it was great.
This was an all women's event, right?
Yes. I mean, there were definitely males at the event as well. I mean, we had like social dances and everything, but generally it was geared towards just women. It was female instructors. Yeah, it was pretty. I liked the event because it was something different. You had the styling classes, and we all, because sometimes you don't see us all teach, I would say, because a lot of times, a lot of congresses will hire partner work, partner work, partner work, and it's a lot more of the lead that
Yep.
teaches. And so we don't see a lot of, like, I rarely teach styling classes. I have taught more styling classes in quarantine now than I ever have in my whole entire career, which is sad, but
Yep.
it is what it is. Hopefully it changes.
I
But
hope
yeah,
so.
no, those types of events that one was a fun event. I had a really, really good time.
So I wanted to talk to you about Ladies Touch. I
Okay.
know we talked about the franchise in general, but one of the things that I really admire about you is that you use your voice
Mm.
in more ways than one. You know, you use your voice through dance to tell a story, to share a powerful message. So I want to talk to you about that. I want you to tell us how you came about that decision and how you like what you do and why.
I don't know. I don't know why I can't pinpoint like why I would want to do it, but I think I've always been the type of person that if I see an issue or if I feel a certain type of way, I kind of like say what I feel. And because my career is dance and that's how I've learned to express myself, um, I get passionate about something. I'll hear a song and then it's like, oh, I need to talk about this. How do I talk about it? How is it? How can people actually, how will people listen? I guess would be the best way. And sometimes you can send a message while still being entertaining.
Absolutely.
You can send the message that you need to. So I think that's why. And what I have in George and in Rudy, they're super encouraging all the time. When I bring something up, I'm like, I feel strongly about this issue and I'm thinking about doing a routine. They're like, yeah, go for it, do it. And what I'm most grateful for, though, is the actual women that want to be a part of it, because I'm taking a huge risk. Yeah, that was the first one. I'm taking a huge risk with all the women that are involved because sometimes it's an uncomfortable situation and not everybody wants to talk about it. Not everybody has the strength to talk about it. And then to have to dance to send a message, it can be difficult for people. So I am very grateful for all the women that have wanted to be a part of it, that stuck with it, and then actually performed it. And this, the domestic violence piece was the first actual social injustice or whatever piece that I created. And I kept going with other pieces because I knew with this piece, I had women come up to me. They've sent me cards. They wrote me emails, like the dancers that were part of it, telling me, look, I was a victim and this helped me heal in some way, or I'm so grateful that this happened. And then just regular people who have seen the routine, they're like, this is amazing. Not that it's this incredible choreography, but just the fact of talking about something, bringing something up that maybe some people are not comfortable talking about. And now it's kind of in your face for 3 minutes and you have to deal with it. So I think that's why I also kept going, doing other pieces as well. But this was the first piece that I took a chance in. And the fact that those ladies stuck with it and wanted to do it and maybe brought up some, bad feelings that maybe this routine helped them heal with, I don't know. But yeah, I feel like art is, us as artists, we have not a obligation, but I think it's kind of in the job description that we kind of reflect what's happening in our world. So I think that's kind of what I'm trying to do as an artist. I'll give you the fun routines, but if there's something that I feel strongly about that I think needs to be looked at or talked about or discussed in some manner, I'm gonna do it. And if you want to be a part of it, awesome. And if you don't like it, I'm sorry, but you know, this is my world. I'm just reflecting the world that I'm living in. And I think as artists, that's kind of what we do.
I think that's beautiful. I
Yeah.
think it's important if you have a voice and you're able to use it, why not? You know, if you have a message, not just, you know, having a voice just to, you know, throw
Right.
your, right? Because there are people that will be political just to, or whatever, just to, you know, jump on the bandwagon, if you
For
will.
clout. Yeah, some
For
people do.
clout, you know what I mean? But with you, I think everything that you do comes across as very sincere.
Oh,
And
thank
I
you.
think that's why a lot of people do look up to you and do relate to you like that. I'm curious as to who you look up to.
Ooh. Well, when we're talking like artists, when I'm talking like dance wise, I love Corel, I love Anya, I love Grisel. You know, the women that have been in the game for a long time. But I think my mother has a huge part in it. You know, she was a single parent. She's went through a lot of shit. The fact that she's still here is like blowing my mind. And you know, she is who she is, but I think that's probably the number one person I look up to, because she is so incredible and she's gone through so much and still has been able to overcome all these obstacles that life continues to throw in her way. So I think specifically like with the domestic violence piece, I was thinking about her, I was thinking about me. I've had experiences, and you know, I consider myself a very empathetic person. So I try to put myself in other people's situations. So that's where that comes in. But the person I feel like I look up to the most would be my mother, from just a general life perspective. But then if we're talking like just not just dancers, I don't want to say it like that, but when we're talking dance perspective,
I understand what you mean.
it would be like Anya, Karel, Grisel, because they're incredible instructors, I feel like, and they're incredibly powerful women all around. You can see it on stage, but off stage, they take up space. And I never really felt like, when I was growing up, at least, I was first of all, I'm an introvert naturally. So I've opened up more because of dance, but I'm like quiet as a mouse. I only listen. This is the most that I ever talk. Don't say much. But seeing them, I'm like, I want to feel this. I want to take up space. They take up space, but not in like a overpowering way, like where it's like, oh, this is too much. Like, if they let you know that they're here, whether they're on stage or they're just walking into a room. I don't know, but they're just
Great.
themselves. And I saw that growing up through dance, and I'm like, these are the women I want to be like, or take whatever energy they got and try to apply it into my life. And obviously Beyonce, duh, but
Duh, of course. You've been very busy during quarantine with your online stuff.
yeah.
Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get some Insta stuff into the clips, unfortunately. You can definitely give everybody your info so they can follow you on there. But you've been doing a lot of motivational, like women empowerment, queens strength, like workouts, all of that. So what advice can you give for women right now that are in quarantine or coming out of it and just are in a funk or need that something extra right now?
The first thing is, you're not alone. We are all struggling. Some obviously more than others, but you're definitely not alone. I struggle sometimes. I am in funk sometimes where I'm like, I don't even want to get out of bed. I don't want to talk to anybody. All I want to do is watch sad YouTube videos and cry, eat chocolate. That's all I want to do. So the first thing is to remember, one, you're not alone. But is just a reminder. The reason why I do these videos is, yes, for the people that are listening, but it's also really for me as well, like to remind myself, like I'm not just talking to the people, I'm talking to myself. Like when I say, you got this, you can do this, I'm saying it to me too, because it means that I've been going through something and I need a reminder. And why not, when I'm reminding myself, also remind you at the same time, because I can't possibly be the only one going through this. So that's really why those videos start coming. And it's usually when you see them, you're like, oh, Tanya just went through some shit. Okay. But it's also, I want to, I guess I want to be the big sister, or yeah, I mean, the big sister that maybe I didn't have. You know, my mom was a single parent, so she wasn't home much. So I didn't really have a strong female presence in my life. And I kind of want to, again, be that for myself, but also be able to be that for even just one person that might be listening, that is going through some shit, and just reminding them, like, no, like, shit happens. I get it. And it sucks, but we got to keep going. You're still here,
Yep.
still breathing, and it will pass. And I'm not one to be like, stay positive, although I know I've said that in the past, but I think it's more like, at this point for me, staying grateful for the things that you have, because it's very easy to look at the negative. It's very easy to be like, oh, COVID happened and now I lost my job, and all those things are absolutely terrible, of course, but there's so many positive things that are happening that we tend to forget about. Like, you woke up today. That's amazing. Some people don't get that. Some people are just gone. They don't wake up again. You're able to breathe. You had a cup of coffee. You're able to feel the sun on your face. Like, it's stuff like that that we have to continue to stay grateful for, especially during a time like this where it's so easy to forget. And it's so easy to be overcome with what's happening when it comes to COVID, what's happening on social media, all the negative that we're constantly bombarded with. It's easy to get lost in it and to have anxiety consistently, but it's so important to take time away, be grateful, meditate, I would say, is definitely something people should start doing. And it's not a matter of, I gotta sit in silence and and no, it doesn't. Literally just you taking 5 minutes out and sitting in silence, that's meditating. Praying, if you're a religious person, praying is a form of meditation. So it's taking that time for yourself that I think can help with maybe some of the anxiety people are feeling right now. But it's definitely not a easy time, and just remember, you're not alone. So reach out to people. If you feel like you're alone, reach out to someone. That is the number one advice I could give to somebody, is please reach out to someone that you can trust.
Dial a friend.
Yeah, absolutely. Because this shit ain't easy.
So you did drop a little tidbit about a video that will be coming out. What else can you tell us about what's coming up in the future for you? Big events, projects, a congress or something?
Let's see. We're going to start working now already this year. Like, obviously, because we haven't worked for a year and a half, we're like, okay, we got to make some money at some point. Back out there and actually teach, because we love teaching. The internet is great, but it's just not the same as in person. So we're doing like a mini West Coast tour. We're going to LA, to Reno, and to Phoenix in May. We have a congress lined up in June in Africa, so already international. And then like 2 more congresses towards the end of the year. But for me, both of us really, we're going to slow down a little bit. Obviously, every weekend we've found out, yes, it was great. But now having this time off and creating like a routine and enjoying being at home and having, being able to be around friends when we were able to, it's nice. Now we're finding a balance. So the traveling is not going to be as intense, because I was losing myself when we were doing that. I'll be very honest. I was losing who I was. I was very emotional. I was going through a lot through some of that stuff. So that's not a place I want to go back to. So the traveling is going to slow down a bit. But as far as additional projects, I mean, we still have our Congress in Chicago.
Okay.
They're hosting in August. So we'll have that. We're working on our Congress in the DR, Machatu, which people have been wanting. And then like I have my personal project, like with fitness. I've gotten into fitness while we've been in quarantine. I've always enjoyed working out before. I used to work in gyms when I was like 14, 15. Like, I liked it a lot. I just never, with the traveling, it was either sleep or working out. And I always chose sleep. Like, I couldn't do it. But now being able to be in a routine, I know the benefits that working out has, at least for me, and I'm in such a better, I have more energy. So now I have, you know, a training program, and I'm working on becoming a certified trainer.
Nice.
So yes, like a side project for me at the moment.
Okay. Well, before we finish up for the day, why don't you give people information about where they can follow all of this fabulous stuff, your fitness program, your dance journey, your online classes? Let them know.
Okay, so for our online classes, it is islandtouchonline.com. So it's a membership portal. You get all of our classes on there. And then I would say follow my Instagram, which is at @Alemana_official. And that's where I put like my fitness stuff and everything. If you want the actual program, just send me a DM, and then I'll give you all the details that way. If you just want to go on the website, it's queensculpting.com, and you can sign up there directly. Yes. But I'm more than happy to answer any questions if you send me a DM. Obviously, it might take some time to respond, but I try my very best to respond to all of the messages that I receive. And yeah, that's it. So Island Touch, the most important is islandtouchonline.com. That is our online portal for all of our classes.
Okay, I'll make sure I tag as much as I can in the description when I post it once we're all done. All right, so last question, because I asked this of all my guests. If you could give one piece of advice to a woman who wants to become a professional dancer in this industry, one tip, what would it be?
That wants to become, I think it's so hard. I want to give so many. But I think the most impactful one, and the scene's not bad, but it's making sure you don't allow it to beat you up. It will test you. It will test you a lot. It will test you as a woman. It will test you as an instructor, as an artist. It will test you as a human being. Don't allow it to beat you down. Yeah.
That gave me goosebumps.
It's
true. It's very true. Tanya, thank you so much for giving me your time.
Oh, no, you're welcome.
I love you.
Love you too.
You're so awesome. Guys, thanks for tuning in, and join me next week where my guest will be Veronica Castilla.
Woo, yes.
Yes.
All right. Mwah.
Mwah. Bye, everybody. Bye.